Hi, Janine O Keeffe with Last Generation, blocking the A100 in Berlin. Why is this civil disobedience important? If we look at the history of our societies, the suffrage needed civil disobedience in order to get the vote. Suffragettes needed civil disobedience in order to get women to get the vote. Civil rights needed civil disobedience for black people to get the vote. Now we're trying to give climate a voice. We're trying to give science a voice for democracy. And that is why civil disobedience is needed. We've tried petitions endlessly for decades. We've tried every mechanism. Fridays for Future did the striking. Was that enough? In my opinion, probably not. I wish it was enough. Extinction Rebellion, blocking of main city centres to basically help people see the problem. Was that enough? Well, it's been going for 3 years. The politicians still haven't really changed. So therefore, we need to continue down the line of civil disobedience and peaceful civil disobedience and find new ways to make the society understand that this is serious and why we have to continue to press on to our governments and even the police what is needed to be done for IPCC science. It's not even us which is deciding. It's 9,800 scientists sit down together and look at how much is being done for the science and how much is being done for the climate and ecocide and say this is not enough. And we are standing up with them. They are the voice from knowledge. We are the voice of civil society to show that this has to be listened to. If you're in the media, please help people to understand that this is not something which is going away. Every day, every week, every month we delay, the climate actually gets worse. It even could be looked at as exponentially changing already. Look at the polar Arctics, look at even the flickering they see with the AMOC, so the Atlantic Meridian Ocean, so it's a Gulf Stream. Look at the flickering of that beginning to break down. And we see other flickering as well. We see the fires being exponentially getting worse. So for example, I come from Australia. In 1983, the speed of the fires was around 60 kilometers an hour. In 2003, the speed of the fires was recorded at up to 250 kilometers an hour. 4 times faster, okay? In 2009, they also had what is called the 250 kilometer an hour fires, which are called fire tornadoes. These actually can jump from one hilltop to another. So they can actually go from one area and land on a house. So for example, in 2009, Jen Clark was a grandmother. She thought she had a safe house. She thought the neighbor's children should come, her son should come, and her grandchildren who were down the street should come to her brick house with solid windows, which would last a 60 kilometer an hour fire. But unfortunately, the fire tornado landed on top of her house. She, her husband, and 1 son got out. The neighbor's children, her 3 grandchildren, and her son all died. She tried to actually break down the door to get her grandchildren out, but it was not possible. She would have just died. So she had to then tell her daughter, I'm sorry, I killed your children. Whereas in fact, when you look at the detail, the government had known for 6 years the fire tornadoes were existing and capable of destroying people, and that the only way forward was leave your homes. The traditional way in 1983 was houses save people, people save houses. But with 250 kilometer speed with the fires, you just have to leave. So therefore, in the 2009 fire in Victoria, 200 people died because they had a misunderstanding that fire tornadoes did not exist. So the government had 6 years to warn them, but did not do that. So it was a government breakdown. She didn't kill those children. The government did by not warning her. And that's what happened in the Ar Valley. They had 4 days notice that weather was coming. And actually, I was been to the Ar Valley recently, and one person said the measurements were so off the scale, the flooding measurements. So they said the people doing the measurements said the equipment's broken. So the warning systems, because it had man-machine interface, which didn't understand climate, failed to warn people. So there was 135 deaths. Similarly, there was 200 deaths in 2009 in Victoria, whereas the 2019 fire, 2019-2020 fire season in Australia, which was not just 1 day, it was like 90 days and many fire tornadoes, where the government did warn people. It said, just leave. So the policy had changed. Houses do not save people anymore. People cannot save houses. Just leave. So when that happened, did 200 people die? No, it was only actually directly from the fire, 30 people died. So it shows that with government and firemen understanding the truth, we can save lives. But long term, 250 kilometers an hour fire means that many tracts of arable land which produced food for decades, if not centuries, if not thousands of years, that land is now no longer livable. You do not know when the next fire season will hit. You cannot really build a house there. You cannot make a life there. We are destroying large tracts of the earth and making them non-livable. So we're affecting our food chain. We see that with India cutting their exports of grains to Europe. We see that with the cows dying from heat waves. It was either 10 or 100, I think there was clearly hundreds, if not thousands. And we also see it with Ukraine, where food prices have been affected. And the conflict that we see in Ukraine and Russia is typical of the conflict that we see in Afghanistan, that we see in Yemen, when we see in Iraq, whether it's conflict for fossil fuels and control of fossil fuels, or whether it's conflict for water. Because water is really going to be gold as we continue to increase the temperature. We're now at 1.2 and the temperature is increasing quicker and quicker, and so water is evaporating. It's actually causing the massive storms. This evaporation is causing massive storms, and this is actually part of the climate breakdown. You may not see it in your own backyard, but look a little bit further. Read a little bit of the science, contact a scientist, understand there's 9,800 scientists who put together the IPCC report. Work with them, understand their work, listen to them, make our governments listen to them. Living is dangerous. I wish you very much to take care.